Yo, before we start the video, I just have to say yesterday was a very surreal moment because I logged into my Twitter and Manny Ramirez, the Cleveland and Boston legend, followed me on Twitter, and I just want to let you guys know that his son, Manny Ramirez Jr., I bet the Blue Jays have already found this kid because his swing is legit. I want you guys to go follow him over on Twitter because that family, yo, they know how to play baseball. But anyways, what's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We have a lot to talk about today. Gerrit Cole, as you guys can see, he was flustered in his post-game press conference trying to articulate himself. Now, I just want to say right now that he was just as frustrated as Tyler Glasnow, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, the way in which he spoke and the way that he tried to articulate himself, it didn't come across as well as Tyler Glasnow, so the internet, they're kind of having a field day with Gerrit. If this is your first time on the channel, we do this every single day, so don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're going to any baseball games, minor league or major league, use code FUZZY on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off your entire order. All right, let's go ahead and show the walk-offs from yesterday. The Cardinals, with back-to-back walk-off victories, they have now won 3 games in a row. Goldie makes a nice play to nab the runner over at home, and then Johan Oviedo with 7 incredible innings. He does not allow a single earned run or walk. John Birdie, he makes a nice play for Sandy Alcantara, who was sensational. 8 innings, 7 strikeouts. He was going into the 9th, but unfortunately, his offense could not get anything done as the Cardinals, with the help of Yadier Molina, they get a walk-off victory, and this is the highest OPS plus, 117 for Yadier Molina since, I think, 2014, so good for Yadi. He's an old man, but he's playing like, you know, 28-year-old Yadier Molina. The Padres got swept and they fall to 6 games back of first place. All right, let's talk about how that happened because they were playing the Rockies. How did they get swept by them? CJ Cron, he has always loved hitting against lefties and he shows it yesterday. Fernando Tatis, he loves hitting anywhere. It doesn't really matter. He goes 477 feet. Let's just call it 480 for 21 home runs already on the season, just one behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Trent Grisham is having yet another stud season with 8 home runs and a 153 OPS plus, even though he's missed some time. And both the Rockies and the Padres go back and forth until Chuck Nasty in the final inning, he walks it off as, again, the Rockies, they sweep the Padres. The final walk-off from yesterday, we have Jose Abreu hitting a bomb yesterday, and then Zach Collins, he drives in 2, and the White Sox go off for 7 runs. Now, this was huge because the Rays made a comeback. They storm all the way back to tied up, and Yasmani Grandal walks it off as the White Sox surpass the Tampa Bay Rays for the best record in baseball, and Yasmani has a 151 batting average, so he's been awful in that department, the worst actually in all of baseball. But he has an almost 120 OPS plus, which means that he is essentially 20% better than the average hitter. Just like Yadier Molina is trying to repeat what he did in 2013, 2014, same with Yan Gomes. He has been fantastic in the power department. I think 7 home runs already on the season. 34-year-old Paulo Espino goes 5 scoreless innings. We'll talk about him more in just a moment. As Josh Bell hammers a 2-run home run, Espino, he collects his first MLB win in his 15-year career. He has pitched over 300 games in the minors. He was drafted back in 2006, so I wanted to go ahead and tip my cap to Paulo Espino, 34-year-old legend. So we just talked about the Pirates. Let's talk about 2 other bad teams real quick, the Orioles and the Twins games. Now, Orioles, they did lose yesterday, and it was kind of a fun watch. I'm not going to lie, for both Cleveland and Baltimore Orioles fans. So J-Ram hits his 15th home run of the season, and then he drives in another run later on in the game, and this is where it became a lot of fun for both teams. Well, maybe not for Orioles fans, but how did they not get J-Ram out in this pickle? But not only did they not get him out, he went all the way to third base, and then Harold Ramirez as well as Eddie Rosario, they drive in RBIs on some doubles. Ryan Mountcastle, he destroys Cleveland, and specifically Aaron Savali. Cesar Hernandez has to kind of save the day on this huge 2 RBI triple. James Karinchak and Emmanuel Clase, they both come in and they shut out the Orioles. They combine for 2 perfect innings. I mean, if you are losing against Karinchak and Clase, most likely, I'm going to knock on wood, you're going to lose. So Cleveland is now 4.5 games back and on a 3-game winning streak, but they're 4.5 games back because the White Sox keep on winning. It's kind of frustrating. Another bad team, the Twins, but in my opinion, they're going to get better as the season transpires. You have Josh Donaldson driving in an RBI, and then Jeffers ropes one up the middle. Bailey Ober with a fantastic start to the game. He does not get credited with a W because he was really just filling in. 4 innings, only allows 1 hit and 0 earned runs. Nelson Cruz with his 14th home run of the season. This one is a long one. And then Jeffers has 4 home runs in his last 15. You'll take that from a catcher. The Twins are now 27-41 A lot of people thought that they might make the World Series. Not very often you can do something for the first time in MLB history, but Jose Altuve did that yesterday. He is the first player ever to hit a walk-off grand slam, and then in the next game hit a leadoff home run. So Altuve yet again is playing like an MVP. 3 more home runs put the Astros up by a ton, and then Chas McCormick hits his second home run of the game. And speaking of multi-home run games, Eli White hit his first home run of his career and then added a second one. You have Carlos Correa with an RBI double, and that sets up Jose Altuve with his second home run of the game. So he now has 15 home runs and an almost 900 OPS on the season. That's an MVP, ladies and gentlemen. And if not the MVP, he might be your starter in the 2021 All-Star game. Can you boo an All-Star? I mean, everyone boos the Yankees All-Star, so you probably can. The Boston Red Sox versus the former team from Boston. I think they were the Boston Braves. Correct me if I'm wrong. Rafael Devers refuses to stop driving in runs, and they end up with 6 by the 5th inning. That's where the Braves come into play, where Dansby Swanson ties it up on a no-doubt home run. Freddie Freeman hits a go-ahead shot, and then former Cleveland legend, I'm just kidding, he maybe played 1 or 2 games. I saw him live in batting practice just a year ago. He was so good. Christian Arroyo has his 4th home run of the month. This was the biggest home run of his career, a grand slam. So the Red Sox, they're now just 1 game back of the Tampa Bay Rays. All right, let's talk about both of those New York teams, but let's first bring up the New York Mets because Jacob deGrom does not make sense. He is a cyborg, and I mean, unless you're talking about injuries. So Jacob deGrom with an RBI single, he is now 11 for 26. That's an over 400 batting average on the season with 6 RBIs. He throws 3 perfect innings and strikes out 8 of 9 hitters, and then he has to leave the game with a shoulder injury. So the fact that the Chicago Cubs couldn't get on base 1 single time against Jacob deGrom while he had a bum shoulder, I mean, again, he is just a cyborg. Dom Smith has been looking to get hot. He is doing so, and hopefully he can stay that way. Francisco Lindor is getting on base a lot lately with a bases little walk. This drives in a run, and then Pilar drives in a home run, and that was, I think, the final run of the game. deGrom in 67 innings, I just want to let you guys know that he has only allowed 4 earned runs. 67 innings, 111 strikeouts. He has 6 RBIs as a hitter and a 400 batting average, and he's only allowed 4 earned runs. So let's say in a distant world, baseball was played where every time you drove in an RBI as a hitter, you were able to knock off 1 earned run as a pitcher. So 4 earned runs and 6 RBIs. Jacob deGrom would have -2 earned runs. Now the moment that you've all been waiting for, Gerrit Cole. His start yesterday was actually fairly solid, even though he only struck out, well, I'll save that for later. Marcus Semien and Calvin Biggio, they both hit solo tanks, and now Gary Sanchez, the Yankees, and Gerrit Cole specifically might have a problem because Gary is raking. But that doesn't mean anything for Gerrit Cole because he likes to have a personal catcher, and he would much rather have Kyle Higashioka. And it might mean something because in 8 innings, he only allowed 2 earned runs, but he only struck out 2, so it was the worst timing ever. A lot of people are saying he only struck out 2 because he's not using spider attack. He's not cheating, but still, he went 8 innings, and the Yankees won the game. So I think that has to count for something. And also, Gerrit Cole is now 9-1 since 2018, in which he has struck out 6 or less hitters. So he's still going to get the W regardless. Vlad, he gets hosed by Gary Sanchez, and then Lourdes Gurriel lines out against Aroldis Chapman. Now, one more thing I do want to note before we show the Gerrit Cole rant. You have Ross Stripling showing up Joe Panic on this little ground ball to third base, and I guess Ross Stripling was saying use your glove or something like that. I don't exactly know why he was so upset, but he showed up his third baseman, and after the game, he had to apologize. All right, here we go. Gerrit Cole after the game, he went 8 innings, 2 earned runs on 2 strikeouts. So I have to imagine he was not feeling comfortable with everyone seeing he only struck out 2, and this is what he had to say.
It's hard. I mean, it's so hard to grip the ball. I just, I mean, for Pete's sake, it's part of the reason why almost every player on the field has something, regardless if they're a pitcher or not, to help them control the ball. I don't have a solution, but again, we are aligned in a lot of areas with the commissioner's office on this, and please just talk to us. Please just work with us. I know you have the hammer here. We've been living in a gray area for so long. I would just hate to see players get hurt. I would hate to see balls start flying at people's heads. I had a really tough time gripping the baseball tonight. especially early when it was windy.
So let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Are you on the side of Tyler Glasnow and Gerrit Cole, or are you on the other side where you're saying, hey, this has been illegal and against the rules since the beginning of baseball? Just because they haven't enforced it doesn't mean that you should go out and cheat. So that's one argument. And then the other argument is, if you have a rule and you don't enforce it, is it even really a rule? The Diamondbacks have lost 13 games in a row and 22 games in a row on the road as Eduardo Escobar drives an RBI. So maybe you're thinking that that momentum can go the Diamondbacks way. Nope, Buster Posey with a 3-run shot before Steven Duggar and Lamonte Wade Jr. adds some more via home runs. Des Clefani goes 5 innings, only allows 1 earned run, and the Giants explode for 5 more runs to make it 13 total on the day. I don't even want to talk about that game anymore. I am so sorry, Diamondbacks fans. The Phillies shut out the Dodgers yesterday. Rhys Hoskins was 0 for his last 33 before he smashed this pitch out of the park. JT Realmuto drives an O-double for the second and the final run total for both teams. Zach Wheeler dominated yesterday, 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts on 98 pitches. The bullpen then comes in and no hits the Dodgers for the final 3 innings, and the Phillies, they win 2-0. The Reds, they beat the Brewers 2-1 yesterday, so Christian Yelich drives in Vogie. Vogie was lumbering around third base. This was kind of fun to watch. Tyler Naquin drives in a run and ties it up in the 4th, and Tyler Mahle strikes out 6 hitters. Correction, he had 12 strikeouts. I even wrote that down. I don't know why my brain said 6 strikeouts. I was doing so well lately. That is not easy to do. And then Tucker Barnhart, he wins it for Tyler Mahle, who picks up his 7th win of the season. The Reds are now on a 6-game winning streak, and luckily for the Brewers, they stay in first place because the Cubs keep on losing. Now, speaking of losing, the Tigers have not done a lot of that lately. They beat the Royals 5-4 yesterday. I do want to show Mondesi, Adalberto Mondesi's 450-foot moonshot. Damir Candelario drives in Akil Baddoo, who got on base 3 separate times, and he was in the number 2 spot, which makes my heart very happy. He's going to be facing Shohei Ohtani today. Salvador Perez has 17 home runs as a catcher, so the Royals, they go up, and then Willie Castro ties it, and they score 2 more on some wild pitches, and Mazzara comes in clutch with an RBI as the Royals, they try to make the comeback, but they get handed a 5-4 loss. Between Casey Mize, between Tariq Skubal, and now Matt Manning is starting today, the Tigers, they could be really good in the next 2, maybe 3 years. The Tigers will be playing the Angels today. Like I mentioned, you have Matt Manning making his debut versus Shohei Ohtani, and Ohtani has to face a top 3 player in baseball, Akil Baddoo. Speaking of the Angels, they lost their 3rd consecutive game, even though Shohei Ohtani goes 435 on yet another lefty-lefty home run, so the Angels go up 4-0. But Ramon Laureano returns from the IL to make a spectacular catch in center and then hit a home run. Griffin Canning goes 5 innings of solid baseball, only allows 2 runs, but then the A's, they fight back and they score 6 runs on a whopping 0 extra base hits. So the Angels were quickly reminded after winning 6 games in a row that they are not the team to beat in that division. It's the A's and the Astros to lose because the Angels, their rotation and bullpen are not very good. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Remember, Shohei Ohtani versus Matt Manning, as well as Akil Baddoo, that is going to be on tonight. I can't wait to watch that. Don't forget to use code Fuzzy if you're going to those games or any other game in the future. Use code Fuzzy for 20 bucks off your entire purchase on SeatGeek. And last but not least, enjoy this day in MLB history.
Rodriguez will set an all-time Major League record tonight. He will do it here in Arlington. Very exciting. Salute Pudge Rodriguez. Chuck Morgan is going to recognize on the video board, and the fans are reacting to that. You saw Pudge basically say, okay, people, settle down. Let's play ball.